Hi there folks, shooting again at sunset, for which I apologize, but the days are getting pretty full here. So I wanted to quickly show you just for a couple of minutes common problem here in our spring with the currants, especially the red currants, which tend to flower earlier. And you can see that the plants are covered with flower clusters, but upon closer inspection you can see that on those clusters fruits are already forming, but just at the beginning of the cluster and not at the end. And the tips of the clusters are all dead flowers. The reason for this is that we've had the unstable weather here, so the bees and other pollinators were not really out in force to pollinate the plants. And especially when they were peak bloom, we've had some windstorms with very heavy wind, then overcast weather, then a couple of nights of sub-zero temperatures, so the pollinators were really not working at maximum capacity, so to speak. And you can see that a cluster which easily can have 15 fruit will have now just 5 or 4 little berries on it. I mean, with so many clusters it's not much of a loss. We'll still be getting some red currant, but maybe not as much as last year, and I'll be happy on whenever we can get. But this is a problem with currants here, especially red currants, which tend to bloom earlier. Otherwise the plants are growing very nicely, very vigorously. This is 25 centimeter new growth tip here on those younger shoots, so it's all good. And the aphid damage is not really concerning, and I'd say mostly under control, because those blisters do not spread on more of the leaves. And now we have the black currants starting to flower, and we'll have maybe 3 or 4 days of sunny weather. But I just checked the forecast for tomorrow, for the next week, I'm sorry, and of course the next week is forecasted for heavy winds and probably rain and lower temperatures. So I fear that this one might not get properly pollinated as well, but the only thing we can do is just wait and see. I apologize for the neighbor's dogs, but it's feeding time. I thought that they already fed them, but it seems that they were late as well. So I want to show you also the white currant, which bloomed maybe a couple of days later, and you can see here that it has a similar problem, but less worse, less bad. On this cluster it has 7 or 8 fruit set and just a couple of dead flowers. And here as well I can show you if it focuses. So you can see that it's still flowering, it's still peak flowering here, those open flowers, and they seem to flower a bit later. So maybe in time it will turn out that the white currants will have a better yield overall. Vigorous new growth here as well, which makes me happy. And finally, as I was inspecting here the wild strawberries ground cover and the fruit set on the honeyberry plants in the plant propagation area in our garden. Very nice fruit set so far. I decided to check upon this currant plant, which was a gift to me by a friend, and he claimed that this currant made golden colored currants, which I haven't seen so far, and I'll be really glad to have such a variety. I'm doubtful of that because it flowers in the similar way to the black currants, and also the leaves, they have the black currant smell. So I think that it might be just a different variety of black currant, but we'll see hopefully in a month and a half. And you can see here some damage from the winter. This is some dry wood, and it starts regrowing from the bottom more vigorously, which means that it suffered at the top in winter, and I'll be probably trimming that back just to make it easier for the plant to establish in the season and grow. And the golden currant is still beautiful in bloom. It makes blackberries, black currants, but it's called golden because of the color of the flowers. It's a very beautiful plant, of which I talked a lot before, and I'll be talking more in the future. But I really like that it has a flower for maybe a whole month, and I see that the fruit is setting here nicely. It doesn't have so much of a large clusters, but a good number of them. You can see on this small 3-year-old plant there are dozens and dozens of clusters. So that was all for today, folks. I'm leaving you with this shot of our beautiful young quince tree, which is almost ready to bloom, and I'll talk more about it in the next episode.